First of all, I'd like to share the 3 big challenges we all share today, regardless of country, regardless of subject. These are the 3 challenges. Rapid change of technology. We all know, but I just want to make sure that we stand on the same page. And demographic changes and economic changes. And these demand transformational changes in the way library services are provided, regardless subject. And more fundamental institutional change in the library system, and more for Japanese studies collection. And I chose 3 challenges for Japanese collections, users, Japan, and we ourselves, and how to cope with these challenges. And users, who are our users? What are they? And you agree with those things. They are born digital, using communication style, online resources, expect full text, and also expect fast response and solutions, and more visual-oriented, different communication style. But they don't know major academic journal resources or monograph resources in Japan studies, because they search database by keyword, not reading the whole journals. So they don't have enough knowledge about which journals are kind of authentic about Japanese studies. And users today, I'm talking about usually mainly the undergraduate and master's degree master students. They can find answers quickly by using a lot of tools. So when they ask us questions, they need more consultation. And they come with more profound questions. We really need to have a very professional, profound knowledge about Japan or Japanese studies in general. And this is a very serious one. Decline in number of graduate students in Japan studies program. Then, how we can persuade, convince our users and administrators that they still need us. This is a big challenge for us today. We used to face the digital resources, and now we are facing our foundation of employment. And challenge B, Japan. Japan has big issues. So I focus on library materials. And users, I said the users want online full text now, but as you have already know, small amount of electronic full text journals available compared to Chinese and Korean materials. And for many reasons, like a copyright, strict, like a business, rigid business model, and high price set for Japanese market. And those license agreement, copyright, will be improved, and we cannot do anything about it. The high price, their price is set for the Japanese market where there are many users. And we have very small number of users. And we still have to pay the same price. And not many libraries can afford this. But our resources are becoming more and more digital. And these issues, no individual librarian can solve. And we need to work collectively. And this is a list. And there are 11 online major resources available for sale in North America and in Europe too. And 5-6 years ago, none of this, but except Magazine Plus, was available for sale. And we librarians really cooperate each other to solve this problem, that open up the market of Japanese resources. So now the Europe and in Europe and also the North America, we subscribe this. And I mentioned about the international cooperation. Several years ago, European librarians and American librarians really worked together with Japanese librarians in Japan, and we held an international conference, like an ad hoc conference, to open up the asking their market, asking them to sell the major 3 newspapers to online newspaper database to us. So without this international cooperation, we cannot really put pressure on the vendors. So that's why I was encouraging you to share your issues with NCC. I'm advocating NCC right now. NCC, so we can advocate the issues together to Japanese vendors. And users, again, become visual-oriented. But for the undergraduate, not many available with English subtitles. And this is really disappointing for users. And there are some TV dramas available with Chinese and English subtitle at Amazon.com. And I actually purchased them because I was asked by the language teacher they wanted to use it. Incorporating with their language class, they use comic and visual material and teaching grammar together, like a remix. And they use a light novel later. So I bought it and I watched several of them, and it has a kind of news strips running in that drama, so it's kind of obvious pilot version. And the cataloger of the main library said that they cannot catalog those. Obviously, they cannot catalog those TV DVDs as a part of the library collection, and this is the issue. This one, again, no individual librarian cannot solve, and we need to work together. This is an example of many materials, and NHK produced a lot of good documentaries and media stuff in history, civilization, Buddhism, and architecture, but 90% don't have English subtitle, and which are not used like introductory classes, like a world religion. And it's really kind of, we are losing potential students who are interested in learning Japan studies. Japan challenge be Japan to strong way. We already know this. I compare the Kinokuniya invoices. The dollar lost almost 30% purchase power. And this issue really cannot solve by librarians. I wish I could. I really want to do it. But, so we come up with creative ideas. So NCC form working group on cooperative collection development project. This is one solution we are thinking. So there will be presentation on Thursday, coming Thursday, so please come to our annual meeting. Number 3, limited access to materials from overseas. Well, we already experienced this, and users still need to go several steps, and it's really frustrating. But from the very selfish point of view of Japanese studies librarian, thinking about employment, that means users still need us. But this is enough reason to convince our users and administrators that they still need us. I don't want that because I am trying to create access for them, so I don't want this as a reason to convince them to keep hiring us. Declining presence of Japan in the world. Japan birthing in the 80s, sinking 90s, passing 2000, nothing 2010s. And I have studied reading articles that wealthy Japanese people are transferring their assets to overseas. And Japan is really declining. And I hope that Japan does not become like Greece. And Japan studies, I hope Japan studies wouldn't become like classic studies. Okay. But can librarians improve this condition? Think about this. Challenge, you see, the last challenge, Japanese studies librarians ourselves. When we think about challenges, we tend to think about external challenges coming to us. But the real challenge is in ourselves. Because this problem, the issues, challenges are created by the present or past thinking. So we really need to change ourselves and get the new ideas, the new myself, to create a new solution. And also Japanese studies librarian, it's difficult job because we deal with, like a Chinese and Korean, we deal with East Asian librarians. We take care of the materials covering the thousands of years of literary history. A lot of classical writing system to contemporary one, and the format is different too. And we deal with many things in a multi-dimensional things. We don't juggle. The juggling is the same ball. We don't juggle the same job. We reach out the many hands in a very different dimensional tasks at the same time. So we really need integrity in ourselves. It's a challenge to us. And I have a bad news. The more service we offer for users, the better access to materials we create for users, the more we are creating the condition where users feel that we are not necessary. The harder we work, the less we are wanted. This is absolute condition. So how can we create a new condition in which we are wanted out of this absolute condition? What do you think? This is a map. I have a kind of map in my mind when I'm doing my work. There is
Which one's you?
What?
Which one?
That's the cosplay I went, and I was just doing these different things. See, there are many young people all over the world that they are interested in animation, cosplay, and fashion. And for example, even only Seattle, 19,000 attendees last year, and they have this cosplay every year, every week, every April, and they are the potential. They have their own image, fantasies, and information about Japan, and some of them stay their fantasy. That's fine. That's their life, and I don't argue with it. And some of them have a desire to learn Japanese language and learn about Japan. So they are the potential users who we can argue about that they still need us. And these students come to Japanese education, higher education. So our job is to help their information, image, and transforming to solid knowledge through education. And there are many introductory undergraduate classes like a world religion, and those students are not necessarily interested in Japan. They are taking religion. But if we can provide a good resource about Japan with English subtitle, for example, and improving access to Japanese resources, if we can provide good information literacy and education for them, we can help them fall in love in Japan. And they are the potential users. They are the potential graduate students in Japanese studies. There is more major problem though. The declining of number of graduate students is a lack of support in a department. So that issue has to be solved by Japan side. So I want to show this mapping to Japanese people when I go to Japan, by the way. And I want to point out one more thing. That's employment. I used to have many students who love Japan, who study Japan, who are fluent, who become fluent in Japanese language. They are seeking a job related to Japan. They want to use their Japanese language, knowledge about Japan, something they want to do in a job. But I used to say, no, I'm sorry, I don't know, especially in Seattle. But I noticed one thing in a couple years, for the past couple years, Japanese domestic market is shrinking. So that more and more Japanese companies moving toward overseas, they need to have a competitive global workers. And we can provide those competitive global workers for these Japanese companies. And I have one example, one successful story. I read last year. Last year I read an interview from President Yanai of Uniqlo, and he wants to employ non-Japanese people, competitive global workers. And Japanese language is not required, but it's preferable. And in Seattle there is no Uniqlo. And I wanted to have a Uniqlo store open badly. So I thought about how can I bring a Uniqlo shop open in Seattle. And I read his interview, and I know the students coming to me that I'm looking for a job related to Japan. Here is the match. So I wrote to Uniqlo Jinjibu and persuaded them to do the job interview in Seattle, the University of Washington. And I did some marketing. And this is kind of like Keiko-san said, sort of beyond the librarian's work. This is not traditional type of librarian job, but I consider, I said to the faculty were so happy that when they found out that Uniqlo is coming for job interview, because there are more opportunities for UW students. 5% of the university graduates are out of employment. It's a very serious, the providing jobs right now at the University of Washington and probably at the other universities too. So they are very happy that, and Keiko, you did a great job, you went the extra mile. And I said to the faculty that I did what librarian supposed to do. Because my job, my mission is connect people with information and enrich their lives. So I connect the Uniqlo's needs and the students' needs. And with the information, I just provide information to Uniqlo and connect them, two groups together, and enrich their lives, creating win-win situation. So I did this work as a librarian. And it was fun, and it was very exciting. Okay. So I consider librarian as a creator of access. So networking, sharing, working together in your library system. Like if you have a budget program, you team up with other subject librarian or media librarian sharing the budget to purchase media materials or budget. So you work locally too and nationally, and also we need an international cooperation to just bring up Japan again to the world. So join the project of NCC or whatever you feel comfortable and you have passion for it. And I think that working on project together is the best professional training. Actually, I have been involved in the NCC for the past 10 years or 11 years. And this one is the best practice for me, and I was growing up just while working with others. So if you can just write up, so you belong to East Asian Library and your own library system or regional partnership. Nowadays in your regional area, the technical sharing, collection sharing is happening. But at the same time, please pay attention to make a connection, networking with your colleagues in relating to Japanese collection. So again, I consider myself librarian as academic concierge for knowledge creation. And I do a lot of projects, so I feel like I have felt like a project manager too. But networking, sharing, and innovation and marketing yourself and marketing your collection is very, very important. And remember, today's users are tomorrow's donors. They shall come back. I guarantee you. Not everyone, but they will come back to you. So be cheerful, creative, and share, and work together. Let's grow together, and solution will come.